My name is Thelma Jenkins.
My name is Vivian Jenkins.
We are the sixth generation of the Jenkins at Grace Baptist Church,
which is celebrating its 150th anniversary in 2022.
I am Elaine Hanrahan. It was 96 years after the signing of the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia.
I'm Logan Bocklett, and it was just 5 years after the Civil War when Grace Baptist Church began on February 12, 1872.
I am Doug Hargis. This remarkable church, once the largest Protestant church in America, founded Temple University, 2 hospitals, additional churches, an orphanage, the chapel of the Four Chaplains, and supported missionaries across the globe. And it all began in a tent.
I am Kathy Gallagher. A group from 10th Baptist Church decided to start a new church in a growing section of Philadelphia. The church officially began on February 12, 1872, with approximately 50 members.
I'm Patrice Eric. The first church building was at 12th and Burke Street. The church struggled to finish the building and barely escaped foreclosure before the arrival of our 4th pastor.
I am Linda Allman. Our 4th pastor, Reverend Russell H. Conwell, was a Civil War officer, a lawyer, author, and became a well-known orator, humanitarian, and pastor.
I am Lee Foyle, and this is Hattie Mae Wyatt. She was a young girl in the neighborhood whose story Russell Conwell made famous. The story of this young girl's 57 cents and how it helped build a great church that built Temple University still circulates on social media and the internet. Conwell used the story of the young girl who saved her pennies for the church, hoping a new one will be built that would have more room for all the children who wanted to attend. Hattie died and her parents gave Conwell Hades coins. Conwell used the sweet story to inspire the congregation to give generously and spurred phenomenal fundraising.
Hi, I'm Sue Jenkins, and this is Grace Baptist's building when it was in Philadelphia and known as Baptist Temple. When it opened on March 1st, 1891, it was the Megachurch of Victorian Philadelphia. On opening day, there were over 9,000 people at each service, overflowing into the lower floor and the older church building.
I am Val King. In contrast to the way most churches were designed at the time, Conwell wanted more of an auditorium style. Instead of hard wooden pews, the seats were padded and covered in red velvet. The acoustics were nearly perfect, and the baptismal pool filled the length of the pulpit stage and was something to behold. Church members participated in constructing portions of the building.
Hello, I am Neftali Ortiz. This is a photo of the pulpit area decorated for Christmas. The large chairs below the choir loft and pulpit in the picture remains at the church in Bluebell.
I am Gunta Plusniaks. Music has always been an important part of worship at Grace Baptist. This is a photo of the magnificent original organ, which was one of the finest in the country and weighed about a ton.
I'm Linda Deach. This is a photo of youth choir. In the recent book, Faith Walks and Talks, many members and former members recount memories of being at church practically all day on Sundays, with Sunday school and worship in the morning, and then returning for youth choir, Christian endeavor, and evening services.
I am Lloyd Paulin, and this is a photo depicting our earliest pastors. Our first was L.B. Hartman. My father, Dr. Norman W. Paulin, is there on the right-hand side, lower left corner. He was our 8th pastor. Our pastor today, our 14th, is Reverend David Branicki.
I am Stanley Hatch. Grace Baptist founded Temple University. It began in 1884 when a young member, a printer, asked Reverend Conwell to tutor him at night to become a minister. It wasn't long before dozens showed up, and the church's basement was filled with classrooms. Working people at the time had little opportunity to attend college because classes were held during the day. So traditional college classes were primarily filled with children of the wealthy.
I am Natalie Glantz. Reverend Conwell was a world traveler and a captivating speaker. He crisscrossed the country and even traveled across the globe, giving his Acres of Diamonds speech over 6,000 times. Nearly all the funds he earned went to support Temple University. The church members also helped fund and support the university, keeping it running many of the early years.
I am Gordon Angelo, and this is a portrait of Reverend Russell H. Conwell, best known as the founder of Temple University and Grace Baptist 4th pastor.
I am Kate Stremme Phillips, and this is Laura Carnell, a member of Grace Baptist. Women have long played leadership roles at Grace Baptist, and the story of Laura Carnell and how critical she was in helping Conwell operate Temple University is impressive.
Hi, I'm Comfort Angelo, Grace Baptist founder, Garretson and Samaritan Hospitals, which later became part of the Temple University health system.
I am Betty Helpa. Conwell and the church have always believed that we are Christ's hands and feet in the world. When there was a need for an orphanage, the church and Conwell founded it.
I am Joan Frizzell. This is a picture of my grandparents, Florence Spare and Raymond Parker, being married by Dr. Conwell at his summer home in Massachusetts. Also pictured are the bride's parents, Enos and Viola Bloom Spare. Dr. Conwell was known as a large, towering man. In this picture, you can see why.
I am Steve Longenberger, and this is a photo of Reverend Conwell's funeral. Conwell died on December 6, 1925, at 82. He was the president of Temple University from 1884 until his death. He and his wife are buried in Founder's Garden in the center of Temple's campus.
I am Amy Bocklet, and this is a cradle roll certificate for member Joan Frizzell's father. When infants were born into the church, their names were placed on the cradle roll, and their parents received this certificate. Some members who attended the church when it was in Philadelphia still have their cradle roll certificate. I was the first baby born to a family at Grace Baptist Church of Bluebell.
I am Jennifer Neves. In 1922, Grace Baptist bought a piece of land in Collegeville, Pennsylvania, and members built rustic cabins and recreation buildings, and Temple Camp began.
I am Brandon Montgomery, and this is a camp photo from the boys' camp in the 1950s. Temple Camp likely was a follow-on to the earlier Temple Brigade, which was a boys' militia group that did drills and performed at various events in Philadelphia. They practiced at encampments.
I am Kathleen Weil, and members and former members who attended the camp
have detailed memories of their time spent as campers and counselors.
I am Butch Swanson. Campers earned badges for canoeing, archery, made crafts, and swam in the dirty Perkiomen Creek. The camp was sold and today operates as Camp Grand Israel.
The pulpit at Grace Baptist, then known as Baptist Temple, saw many great speakers behind it. Temple University programs and graduations were often held in the auditorium of our church. Pictured here are Helen Keller and her teacher Ann Sullivan when Temple University gave them honorary degrees on February 16, 1931.
I'm Patrick Rogers. Grace Baptist Church, with Daniel Poling as its pastor, made plans to create a memorial to Russell Conwell. As architects drew up plans, tragedy struck very close to home. Poling's own son, Clark V. Poling, and the other chaplains died in the sinking of the Dorchester. The church agreed that it would build a chapel to honor the 4 men of different faiths who stood together in brotherhood to serve their fellow men.
I'm Jean Stremme. On February 3rd, 1943, the US-AT Dorchester was en route to Greenland with 902 men, some civilians, some Navy, some merchant marines. It was a frigid night, and the seas were rough. None knew that before dawn, nearly 3/4 of them would be gone. Germans had gotten word of the convoy. When the ship was struck by the German torpedoes at 12:55 a.m., the explosion ripped a hole in the ship, and it was doomed. The 4 chaplains each gave up their own life jackets to men without them.
I'm Dave Shaw, and this is World War II chaplain George L. Fox. He was a Methodist minister and the oldest of the 4 chaplains. He grew up in Altoona, Pennsylvania, in a Catholic family and served in World War I as a medic.
I am Kathy Grable. This is Rabbi Alexander D. Good. He was a native of Washington, D.C., and followed in his father's footsteps in 1937 and became a rabbi. In 1925, he married his childhood sweetheart, Teresa Flax, the daughter of a rabbi, and the niece of singer Al Jolson.
I am Deborah Sharp, and this is Clark V. Poling, the son of a well-known radio evangelist and religious newspaper editor Daniel A. Poling. Daniel Poling became Grace Baptist's 7th pastor. Clark met and married Betty Young at Baptist Temple, where his father preached. He became a chaplain on June 10, 1942.
Hi, this is Joanne Flower, and this is Father John P. Washington. He was born in Newark, New Jersey, the eldest of 7 children. He almost lost his eyesight to a BB gun incident, and the Navy initially turned him down because of his eyes. When he applied a second time, this time to the Army, he covered his bad eye both times in order to pass the eye test. He'd hoped God would forgive his subterfuge.
I'm Ken Green, and this is President Harry S. Truman at the dedication of the Chapel of the Four Chaplains. He spoke February 3rd, 1951 at 3:10 p.m. and said, "As men die heroically as brothers, so should they live together in faith and goodwill."
I am Joe Gallagher. The architect of the Four Chaplains was meant to echo the traditional use of foundation space in ancient churches where chapels or crypts were built.
I am Marie Donnelly. The Chapel of the Four Chaplains, when it was located in the church, included a beautiful revolving altar representing the 3 faiths of the men, Protestant, Catholic, and Jewish.
I am Cliff Dobrovolek.
And I am Monet Dobrovolek.
Temple University bought the Baptist Temple building when the congregation dwindled, and the church made plans to move to the suburbs.
Years went by with little investment in the deteriorating property. The chapel of the Four Chaplains moved and today resides at the Naval Yard of Philadelphia.
I am Kim Burke, and this is my mom, Barbara Green, dressed as a bridesmaid for a Tom Thumb wedding. The church used to have a children's pageant known as a Tom Thumb wedding, where all the children would dress like members of a wedding party. In the lower floor dining hall, the children would climb atop wobbly tables and process to the stage to perform the mock wedding.
I'm Karen Good. Many famous people spoke behind the Baptist Temple pulpit in Philadelphia, including Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on August 4th, 1965. From that original pulpit that stands in the entryway of our church in Bluebell, he said, "We must recognize the need for developing a massive action program to get rid of the barriers which make it impossible for us to rise to our full maturity as citizens. We aren't going to solve the civil rights movement with prayer alone."
Hi, I'm Bob Allman, and this is Linda and my wedding photo from November 3rd, 1973 at Baptist Temple in Philadelphia. The Allman family had a lot of extended family at the church, including the Tuppence family and the Dungy family. My father and his brothers moved here from Virginia after World War II. We are Native American from the Mattaponi tribe. My father, along with his siblings, his father, and his grandfather were born on Mattaponi Reservation.
I am Janet Brannicky, and this is a program from the 100th anniversary celebration in 1972. The church moved out to Bluebell in 1975.
I am Nancy Burns, and this is an original pamphlet about the new church building in Bluebell. As years passed by, days of civil unrest increased in Philadelphia, and many members left for the suburbs, similar to other large U.S. cities.
I am Jean Hanna. In 1981, after the church building had been sold to Temple University and had decayed badly, a reporter wrote that palm-sized marble wall tiles with handwritten names of respected congregation members remain intact.
I am Marjorie Scharf. In 1974, 2 years after Grace Baptist sold the Baptist Temple building to the university, it was deemed unsafe for everyday use. In 1986, the university announced plans to tear it down, which sent preservationists into an uproar.
I am Grace Lee. Ultimately, Temple University did save the historic landmark building and the congregation that founded it. Today, the building is Temple Performing Arts Center.
Hi, I'm Ryan Bachlet, and this is a photo of my grandmother, Barbara Green, and my brother and me when the church was celebrating my grandmom's 50th year as organist. It's now been 61 years since she was asked to be a substitute organist.
I'm Barbara Green, organist and music director, and this is from the Disney Community Concert Grace Baptist put on several years ago. For many years we did these yearly, and not only members and friends came, but we filled the church with busloads of people who came from retirement communities.
I am Don Halpa. Grace Baptist has continued its focus on education, ordaining over a dozen new ministers. Here, our 13th pastor, Reverend George Hawthorne, is ordaining Armando Sato.
Hello, I'm Chris Lister, and this is a photo from my ordination at Grace Baptist. I am currently pastor at Church in the Acres Baptist Church in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Hi, I'm Grace Lunga, and I'm from the Congo. Grace Baptist has long supported missionaries around the world. This is a newspaper clipping about Lulu Fleming, American Baptist's first African-American woman missionary
and its first missionary to the Congo. She was one of the many missionaries the church supported over the years.
I am Nelson Hayashida. My wife Sandra and I were members of the Baptist Temple, now Grace Baptist. This is a photo from our days as missionaries in Zambia. Today we live in California.
I'm Sandra Hayashida, and as Nelson indicated, we felt God's calling to Zambia. Grace Baptist supported us through many victories and trials. Our long relationship continues with increasing appreciation.
I am Jean-Luc Krieg, and I was a member of Grace Baptist. I started an organization in Mexico and later Colombia to address urban poverty in a comprehensive, multifaceted way called urban transformation. We, as a people, not just Christians, have a responsibility to address the evil and injustices that lie at the root of urban poverty.
Hi, I'm Kathy Kautz Theodongle, and I currently work in Connecticut for the University of New Haven. But my family grew up in Grace Baptist, Haruko and Christy. We really appreciated all of the support from Grace Baptist, from the youth group and all, as they were growing up and during the time that we were there. So thanks so much for all the support as well the church gave us when we launched the nonprofit organization Secate, Centro de Cultura, Arte, Trabajo y Educación. Very glad for the different volunteers who served on the board of directors or came out to volunteer at the organization. So thanks so much, Grace Baptist, for all that you've done in our lives.
I am Dwight Bolick. My wife Barbara and I were members of Grace Baptist and felt God's call to serve the indigenous Mapuche people of Chile. There I worked with rural pastors and leaders to learn beekeeping. We also trained communities in how to harvest rainwater to solve severe water shortages. And now, with the Water for All project, we are training partners in 5 Latin American countries to use rainwater harvesting.
Hi, I'm Barbara Bolick, and as Dwight mentioned, we spent nearly 20 years in Chile. One of the most important projects I worked on there was establishing the girls' clubs. We so appreciated over the years the love and support and visits we received from Grace Baptist.
I am Pat Matthews. In addition to supporting international ministries, Grace Baptist has a program called Faith in Action. Once a year, we forego our regular Sunday services and instead organize community service projects like visiting shut-ins, preparing breakfast for local firefighters and police officers, doing repairs for homeless shelters, cleaning local parks, and other similar projects.
I am Harold Matthews. We wear our Don't Go to Church, Be the Church shirts and find ways to share God's love with others.
Hi, I'm Kristen Poluska. For many years, our youth group participated with REACH mission trips. REACH brought together youth and their leaders from across the country for 1 week to repair and restore homes for those in need.
Hi, I'm Samuel Parent, and as part of Grace Baptist's continued efforts to serve, other teams have gone to New Jersey to help with cleanup and repairs after Hurricane Sandy, and likewise to Galveston, Texas, and to Maryland to help work on Bruce Outreach Center. Thanks.
I am Ed Poluska, and this is me volunteering at a local breakfast for those who are hungry. Our members and friends regularly volunteer and support this program.
I'm Luke Sharp. Grace Baptist has been one of the churches that provide homeless families shelter for more than 30 years. This is part of Interfaith Housing Alliance, which provides food, transportation, and lodging at area churches for people experiencing homelessness.
Hi, I am Oneida Ortiz, and this is the small group we call Presence that meets on Tuesday nights. When COVID started, we began meeting virtually. We met for Bible studies, friendships, and prayer. We call it presence because we feel God's presence when we're together.
I am Carolyn Paulin, and this is our midweek Bible study that meets on Wednesday mornings at 11 a.m. Studying the Bible allows an opportunity to better understand our faith. We also get to know one another better and share concerns in prayer. There's also a Thursday evening prayer meeting that started during COVID that meets virtually.
I am Brady Renix, and I'm the youth and young adults pastor, and we have a great time at the church. For youth group, we have pool parties, we go to amusement parks, we do bowling and go-karts and lunch out. So much fun. We laugh, we play, and most important, we learn how to build our relationship with Jesus Christ.
I'm Sophia Dobrovolek. We also have groups that get together to exercise or socialize and have fun. Here's a Grace Baptist biking group.
Hi, I'm Jill Ray. This is a photo from one of our Communion Club gatherings. We get together on the first Friday of each month to socialize and connect.
Hi, my name is Casey Brooks, and I'm the Director of Children and Family Ministries. Here are some pictures of our children performing a Christmas skit at our yearly church Christmas dinner. We have church bonfires, baseball outings, vacation Bible school, Easter egg hunts, trunk or treats, and a variety of activities throughout the year for our children and families at Grace.
I am Irene Phillips, and this is me on Zoom. When the COVID-19 pandemic shut down our church in March 2020, we quickly transitioned to live Zoom worship services.
I am Savannah Reddix, and here my sisters and I are singing to one of the Zoom services during the pandemic.
I am Wendell Brannicky, and this is a photo from my dad, Pastor David Brannicky's installation service in 2021.
Hi, I'm Andrea Rogers. At Pastor Brannicky's installation service, 2 former Grace Baptist pastors joined us. On the far left is 2-time interim pastor Reverend Stephen Crane, and second from the right is Reverend Fred Lewis, our 12th pastor, who served at Grace Baptist for 22 years.
I am Madison Dover-Bullock, and this is a photo of my baptism at Grace Baptist Church in 2021.
I am Henry. This photo with members dressed in Eagles jerseys was taken after the 2018 championships.
I am Reverend David Brannicky. The exciting thing is that the church can write its future. We get to be co-authors with God of the future, if we embrace its opportunities and responsibilities and walk by faith and trust in God.
I am Audrey Pulaska. As it celebrates its 150th birthday, Grace Baptist Church has the chance to begin a new chapter. To move towards a better future, we are thinking about what we can do by following the teachings of Jesus Christ to make a difference in the lives of others. How can we be peacemakers and bring his kingdom to earth?
I am Isaiah Mark. As we dream of a future for our church, will members 150 years from now read about our thoughts and marvel at our ambitious vision and question why we didn't dream bigger?
I am Frankie. Our mission, at its core, is to offer people paths to a growing relationship with Jesus Christ.
Hi, I'm Scott Brooks. We can adapt and focus and build a bright future for ourselves and others at Grace Baptist of Bluebell.
In Price, we must take steps. We walk in faith.
I am Ellie Paleska. Romans 8:38 says, "For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor power, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any creature shall be able to separate us from the love of God."
I am Kelly Gallagher. At our 100th anniversary, Grace Baptist lifted up the following prayer. It still speaks to us today. Our Father in heaven, accept our prayer of thanksgiving for having brought us safely to this point in time.
I am Margaret Montgomery. The prayer continued. Our finite minds may not envision all of thy master plan, but we do know that we can't fail in our allotted task if we keep before us the words of Jesus to his disciples, "Follow me."
I am Trish Simpson. As we step forward, we remember Conwell's motto, "Do the next thing."
I am Delaney Mark. As we step forward, we remember that Martin Luther King Jr. said behind our pulpit, "Take action. We cannot rely on prayer alone. We must be Christ's hands and feet."
I am Hannah Dover-Volk. As Pastor Steve Crane said in his farewell sermon, Grace Baptist is beginning a new journey to allow God to use our lives to be a blessing and follow God.
I'm Lila Homa. Help us to be your people. Help us to be people of faith. John 4:7 says, "Let us love one another, for love comes from God."
I am Tamra Phillips. Grace Baptist is strengthened by our history and looks with joy to the future. Psalms 47:1 says, "Clap your hands, all you nations. Shout to God with cries of joy."
I am Jack Sharp. This is our church building in Bluebell, Pennsylvania. This is our story, and we are Grace Baptist Church. We hope our stories of love will help you see God's love in your own life. Psalms 115, verse 1. Not to us, Lord, not to us, but to your name be the glory, because of your love and faithfulness.
I am Harry Jenkins III, and 6 generations of my family have attended Grace Baptist Church. The legacy of love, learning, healing, and service began 150 years ago, and we faithfully and humbly carry on